Hi, welcome to Parrot Gaming Productions. My name is Jared, aka Bambi. It's Friday at 4:04 in the afternoon. I have the day off of work because our dollar system is down, and the new Battlefield trailer is out for the beta. So let's go ahead and throw on our Hetty McPhony phones. Let's go ahead and log out of here. Let's go ahead and switch this to our headset. Load it full screen and hit play.
Okay, squads, strategy's simple. Capture your objectives, take control of the sectors, and repel the enemy. Hostile close!
Open beta, October 8th through the 9th, pre-order for early access. I don't get it. I'm confused. I'm sad. I'm unhappy. The fact that the open beta is October 8th through the 9th. You know, like, it's amazing because the open beta is 2 days. So if you don't pre-order the game, because if you according to Battlefield 2042 in Steam, if you pre-order the game, you get to be a part of the beta. You get to download it October 5th, and then you get to play it from the 6th through the 9th. So the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th, you get 4 days to play the beta. This beta is open for 2 days. And then you have to wait basically a month and a half to play the real game. What the fuck, Battlefield? What the fuck, EA? 2 days? 2 days for an open beta? 2 days for an open beta is fucking retarded. You know what? I'm gonna say it. It's fucking retarded. Absolutely fucking retarded. Don't you think, Helios? Absolutely retarded. Completely 100% stupid. I don't understand it. I don't get it. It feels stupid. It feels absolutely fucking stupid to have an open beta for 2 fucking days. I am pissed. Like, that's, I can't even fathom, like, that thoroughly upsets me. Yeah. But in other news, the Far Cry, let's go and pause it there. The Far Cry 6 theatrical, the cinematic trailer kind of came out, so let's go ahead and give it. Oh, cockfights. All right, so let's kind of go over the trailer there. For those of you who are listening, I apologize. It was a bunch of I'll cut out all the music. I'm gonna cut out a lot of stuff here. So it's kind of interesting because the dictator dude. It's kind of interesting because the trailer basically starts off with this chicken who goes into cockfighting, and then he busts out and runs away. And basically the cops, who actually have a very interesting uniform, are chasing after this chicken who's got a double spike collar on, and then basically the cops cause chaos and craziness, and then the people that are fighting back against tyranny end up taking out some of the guards. It's called the Chicharano Run, which is interesting. I really like how very detailed the graphics are. The graphics are they look absolutely stunning. I know this is probably just made within a specific engine or whatever, but I love how this chicken, or this cock, essentially jumps on one of the cars, one of the old school Cuban cars, that's got what looks like a Russian 50 cal, a mounted Russian 50 cal machine gun on top of one of these old school cars. On top of one of these old school cars is sitting there. Actually, if we look at the dictator's tie that he's got on, that's a real knot that you can do. Like, it's a very complicated knot. Let's go ahead and Google it here real quick. What was that? Types of tie knots. The Imagianos. Oh, there it is. Here it is. It's the gold one right there. For those of you that are watching my screen here, is it gonna? I think it's called the Eldridge. Yeah, the Eldridge knot, where it's got the cool little layers. The Morel looks pretty interesting. The Van Woodjik, is that what it's called? Was that what it is, fellas? The Van Woodjik knot. Just looks like someone's it just looks like it's a rolled up lazy ass tie. The Half Windsor, the Pratt, the Windsor, the Balthus, the Calvin, the Prince Albert, the Four in Hand, and the Simple all look exactly the same. I did actually master the Trinity knot, believe it or not. I did a Trinity knot. I wonder if I have that photo. Here. Let's go ahead and blow it up. Let's go to, no, probably don't want to open that. Let's go to my pictures. This is my live stream stuff. Lacey, here it is. It's funny because one of my ex-girlfriend's names was Lacey, and that's the name of my hard drive. L-A, lowercase L-A, big L, lowercase a, big C, lowercase I-E. Lacey is my E drive. Pictures, where am I at here? All my dumb little stupid photos that I got, all my disc golf stuff, got all that stuff. There's all my cute stuff. Maybe it's not in here. Wonder if I may have deleted it, because it's a damn good photo. But I did actually I had one of the knots, which was great. I loved it. I had mastered that cool knot that I had, I'd mastered the Trinity knot. It was for an ex-girlfriend's graduation. I thought it was kind of cool. But yeah, the dictator's got an Eldritch knot, and it looks like a very, very fancy Eldritch knot. The game graphics look pretty cool, as well as too, you get I think you get a rooster. They've got a desert eagle. It looks like the hack and slash. You can use a takedown where you pull a grenade on one of the bad guys' vests and you can kick him off. They've got what looks like an improvised mortar backpack, a hodge, like a very high quality hodgepodge version of a flamethrower that's in there. And then also you get, for some pre-order bonuses, the Libertadio, or the Libertad Chorizo. Chorizo is basically, he's a little puppy dachshund who's decked out in the blue stuff. It's kind of interesting because they went like Crips versus Bloods here. The Crips are the Libertads, and then the Bloods are the bad dudes. Coming out October 7th. is when it, and then there's the Discos Locos, which is it shoots CDs. It's kind of funny. It's basically a CD shooter, which is interesting that you get for pre-order bonuses. I'm kind of glad that they don't have many pre-orders for this game. I just think that when it comes to pre-orders, if you have a pre-order for a game, it's just kind of dumb, especially when they put that much thought and effort into a pre-order. I'm not a big fan of when they do that, just because like they create all these really cool things. And it's like, only if you get a pre-order. Well, here's 2 cool things that we made for pre-order. I don't think it's that hard to shade and create, an extra skin for the basically one of your companions that you get, as well as to create a very simple CD shooter. I think that's pretty dope. I think it's pretty awesome that they ended up doing that. I liked it. I think it's great. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Yeah. My YouTube is very, very random for those of you who are watching the regular the video cast. Linus Tech Tips, I like him a lot. I'm trying to find if there's any new game stuff out here. Yeah, I'd like to watch a lot of the Fallout 4 stuff. Let's see if there's any new gaming clips that are out there. It doesn't look like much is coming out for the gaming stuff. Let's go back. Okay, so here we go. Film theory. Let's try clicking on the related tab. So there's a bunch of games that have been delayed because of gamer rank. There's some gamer rank stuff. Oh yeah. Interesting. They got Carlo, the bad guy from Fallout 6. He's doing it. Somebody played Far Cry 6 early. That's kind of cool. Yeah, the Exodus film for Battlefield 2042. I don't know. I'm pissed off. I'm very not happy about Battlefield 2042 having a Okay, so when I pre-ordered Battlefield 2040, like Battlefield 2042 came out, it was like, hey, here you go. And so what I did, this is when I was still working at the old job, because I did get a new job. But I thought it was really hilarious that Battlefield 2042 was like, hey, pre-order. I was like, fine, I'll pre-order. And, this was before the setback, before all that other fun stuff. So I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll get it taken care of. But, like, it just really upsets me that for those of you out there who cannot pre-order, it really upsets me that if you're pre-ordering, it's just you're fucked. It is essentially what it is. It's like, hey, the open beta was supposed to be, I mean, hell, like they just released, I think it was hilarious. They're like, oh, the open, what was it? We'll talk about the open beta, in September. Well, September fucking 30th, they dropped the open beta. They're like, hey, by the way, open beta is only 2 days. If you pre-order, it's 4 days. I think that's the dumbest. That's so dumb. You should be able to just I think an open beta should be like a week or two. A lot of open betas are a week or two affairs, not 2 days. For those, especially because of COVID this year, especially because of everything else, I think it's absolutely fucking ridiculous that the beta is 2 days if you don't have the $65 to pre-order, which is ridiculous. So, to AEA, I'm flipping off the camera for those of you who are watching. That's really kind of all I wanted to touch on when it comes to video games this week. I don't know. I'm not feeling it for video games this week. It's really upsetting me. I'm starting to feel really, really tired because of an energy drink that I had earlier today. I allowed myself to grab an energy drink after a while. I've had 2-piece teas, a 4-egg omelet with cheese, and now me and the boys are just chilling. He's lost a foot to the void. Blue's all snuggled up next to him, and they're just enjoying time with Daddy-Os. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump into it. I thought I was gonna be able to get So I've got a really cool guest here. Her name is she does Oni Comics. She writes a comic strip, And I get really in depth with where I find out some cool stuff about the alphabet soup, the LGBTQ kind of stuff. I got to ask her a really fucking cool question that I had been wanting to ask a couple of people for a long time because of statements that have been made. So I got to ask her a really cool question. I didn't look like an asshole for the first time in a long time. I didn't look like an asshole, so I thought that was kind of dope. So I just want to shout out to oh god, what the fuck did I really? Oh my god, my brain is fucking fried. Let's go to my videocast here. Oh wow, yeah, OniGirl, Lyndsey from Oni. Ooh, did she not want me to call her Lyndsey? Did she not want me to? Oh no, that's right. She gave me. I think she gave me the permissions. Yeah, she gave me permissions to call her the Lyndsey there. Quick little preview. So Lyndsey and I had a great conversation. It's a pretty big file. Yeah, we talked for about an hour, which was pretty dope. I was going to talk to her boyfriend, who is, what was he again? He was something cool. Like, he was British, but he was also, like, he's Aussie? He's, like, Aussie and British, I think is what he was. Him and I, we're doing an interview later on, but, I did schedule conflicts and all that other dumb stuff. So, on to the Lyndsey and Oni episode that's going up Saturday. So, cheers, mate. Cheers, mate. Fuck, I'm stupid.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to Parrot Gaming Productions. My name is Jared, and I definitely forgot the episode number, but we're in the 90s. Today, I have someone really special with me. Her name is Lyndsey. Lyndsey, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. My name is Lyndsey Little. Primarily, I'm a graphic designer. I work for a mural company, and we design murals locally in Houston, Texas, but also internationally. We do some really cool stuff. But my true passion is actually my comic OniGirl, which is available to read on Webtoon.
So why don't you just go ahead and jump right into it? That's an awesome segue. Lyndsey, tell me about what is OniGirl for those of us who don't know.
Absolutely. So OniGirl is a comic about, it's a world where monsters exist, but they have to survive by sort of living in the wilderness and learning to adapt to human society by changing their appearance, their behavior, and the story sort of deals with the ramifications of that, like what happens when you take away something that is intrinsic to your nature. And I sort of cover topics like self-esteem, anxiety, just mental health issues in general, and just monster appearances. That's sort of an allegory for all of that. Additionally, I have heavy LGBTQ plus representation. That's really important to me. But overall, it's sort of like a lighthearted read. The most common feedback I get is that my comic is cute.
It is a very, your style almost kind of feels like a blend of a couple different things. I was able to scroll through a couple of the pages, and it looks really nice. I like the way it looks, the style.
Thank you.
I do have a question, because I did look at that first one, and it's almost like you're playing it's a video game. Is that what it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right.
So, yeah, that's a direct reference to Animal Crossing.
I was going to ask, where did that come from? So, did you get, because it kind of reminds me of the Netflix movie Bright, where all the different creatures are, what's that look for? That's a little bit of a look.
Oh, I'm just interested because I haven't heard of that.
You've never seen the Netflix movie Bright?
No, I haven't even heard of it.
So, essentially, there's, oh god, I forget what the dude's name, but he's a very good gruff actor. He plays an orc, and he's the first orc cop.
It's not, oh gosh, now I can't think of his name.
Something, I think it's Edgerton or something like that. Google real quick. Oh, come on, Google. Orc? Hey, Google. Who plays the orc in Bright? Nope, that's Oregon. Good job, Google. Uh,
I thought you were going to suggest the guy from Guardians of the Galaxy and more recently the Blade
Drax.
Runner sequel.
Yeah, no, Drax is. I like Drax. He's
I do
awesome.
too.
Joel Edgerton. That's the guy's name. Joel Edgerton. No, no idea. Okay, yeah, he's in a lot of. He was in a combat movie about MMA brothers. A huge spoiler alert. True Warrior, I think, or Warrior, I think is what it was just called. But he plays
Mm.
the first cop orc, and then Will Smith is just Will Smith as a cop in, I think it's New York or whatever. And they chase after a wand, and all the races. I guess you would call them races, but all the races come into
Mm.
play with it. And I
Mm.
was like, that's kind of interesting. So that's what I was like. Where so Animal Crossing is where you got your inspiration.
Kind of, yeah, because my see, this is a little related to video gaming after all. So, my introduction into Animal Crossing was with New Leaf,
Okay.
and my mayor character wore sort of Oni horns that I got from over Reddit through the Animal Crossing trade subreddit. And it's like a Japanese exclusive item, so it was like a lot of work getting it.
Okay.
And I really, the character really appealed to me. Like after I made the mayor design, I started imagining her as a character. Um, Simultaneously, I was going through sort of a dark period in my life where I started drawing myself as an Oni or just a horned character like a demon girl. Um, and so those two things sort of conflated into one, and I created a story out of it.
Okay. So Oni, because I'm not big on that stuff.
Mm.
Oni is horned horned person. Is that what it is?
So an Oni is it's a specific kind of Japanese monster. It's sort of equivalent to not a demon as much, but maybe like an ogre.
Okay.
Um, and I'm a little bit iffy on the details of it, but basically they're just like ruffians. They have like clubs that they like attack with, and they have loincloths. And they're not usually depicted the way that I depict mine, but mine is my own version of an Oni.
Okay. So with is there kind of an overarching story that you're going for where you want to tell a narrative, or is it kind of
Mm.
free form as you go along? Because like you said, you touch on a lot of different topics.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely a narrative to it. It follows my character Des as she attends this school for the first time. As a child, she grew up believing that she was human until horns suddenly grew from her forehead. And that in itself was traumatic. And then she had to deal with like her father's reaction to this. And then we haven't seen it yet in my comic, but she is invited to attend this school for monster children uh, in order to assimilate the appearance and behavior of humans.
Okay.
So she sort of also struggles with coming to terms with her monsterness in the first place, uh, much less like having to deal with integrating back into human society.
Was there a lot of draw from, because you said that you were kind of drawing yourself as the
Mm.
Oni? Was there a lot of just like, hey, this is kind of me, this is the path I'm going, the reintegration into the school is kind of you coming out of that phase, or is that just, two separate linear stories?
That's a really good question. I think at some point, I think early on, I just sort of let go of the reins of it being um, very obviously inspired by my own life, and uh, I do, what's the word? There's some similarities, but it's a little more subtle, dealing with mental health issues for the most part.
So with dealing with the anxieties, the mental health, and the LGBTQ,
Mm,
especially with how heavy, how you said you're really for the LGBTQ stuff, how is,
mm,
I guess, what drives you to be so positive towards them, and then
mm.
how do you integrate them into the comic?
Okay. So that's a really good question. So I am part of that community. I consider myself queer, and it's just an umbrella term that I'm more comfortable with than anything else. Um, and I just think there should be more of that kind of representation in any kind of media. And as far as the way I integrate it into my story, it is not. Uh, my comic is not about LGBTQ matters. It has LGBTQ people, um, but I really want the focus of the story to be about mental health issues and whether uh, I want people to be able to relate to those things because whether you are LGBTQ or not, I think anybody to some degree should be able to relate to the kind of struggles my characters have.
That's actually really awesome because one of the big things that I look for when I either read a comic book or whenever I watch a movie or do something along those lines is I try to find a way to relate to a specific character.
Mm,
Like in a lot of the Superman, comics and movies, Henry Cavill, I feel like he's more humanized, so I can connect with him
mm,
better. Superman 52, he's always constantly getting his ass kicked, like
mm,
he's not that alpha that he normally is, and
mm,
you can empathize with that. And when you
mm,
start to populate, say, a comic with a lot of, I guess, real world aspects, especially with LGBTQ and how prominent it is that a lot of people are coming out as, queer and any sort
mm,
of thing, you can find
mm.
and go, Tony, I like Tony, like I can sympathize with him or Sarah, so I think that's pretty dope, especially when you can
Oh, thank
integrate all
you.
that. Yeah, of
Mm.
course. So when you're doing this, is it just you drawing, stenciling, writing, doing all that fun stuff?
Absolutely. So, I write the story. I try to write. I sort of have several chapters vaguely plotted out. I'm not exactly sure where the story is going from here,
Hmm.
but I always have the entire chapter written out in advance before I start drawing it.
Okay.
Because I want to touch upon so many things and I want the story to get more and more complex as it goes on, it's sort of important for me to be able to plan it out like that. Um, my boyfriend that you met earlier, he will edit it for me. Uh, I super trust him on that. He's an excellent editor. He's always got great feedback. And then I have somebody that does coloring work for me. So I've actually just started updating my Webtoon account with colored pages. So because that you probably just saw some black and white
A lot of black and white with a
pages.
couple splashed in there. Yeah.
So it's going to be all color from now on, uh, starting last night.
Starting
So
last night.
yeah.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. Who'd you find? I call it inking. I'll take somebody else's artwork and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna color this while I'm bored at on the phones at work. What?
Nice.
I'm horrible at it. um,
If you enjoy it, there's nothing
yeah.
horrible about that.
So how did you find your inker? And why don't you give them a shout out just to let them know that you appreciate it.
So their name is Nat, and they live in Thailand. And I found them through Twitter. I just sent out a call asking for interested colorists to message me with some examples, um, and they were the one that I chose. And I've been very happy with their work.
So is Nat does Nat speak English or is it
Mhm.
okay? Yeah, that's one thing that amazed me because I had I did a OnlyFans interview with a girl who was French, and I had no idea she was French at all. And so she's like, oh, well, because like I kind of put out there, I was like, hey, I want to do an interview. I'm really interested about the who, what, where, when, whys about all this stuff. And she was great. She messaged me, and then I was like, great, like, let's set up a time. And she set up a really weird time in the afternoon, and I was like, like, what's going on here? She's like, oh, I'm French. And I was like, oh, that makes perfect sense.
Okay, but she did speak English.
Yeah, she spoke very good English.
Because I imagined that right when you got set up, she started speaking in French, and you were like, oh.
Yeah, well, she had a very thick French accent, which was awesome. I wasn't really able to go off script with her because her improvisation skills apparently weren't good, but she did a phenomenal job. Like, I'm sure anybody listening to this one knows about it's called The French Connection. It was a great episode. I loved it. So anyway, so Nat, did Nat have any competition at all, or?
There were several applicants, but they sort of knocked it out of the park.
Okay.
There was no contest really between all of the applicants, primarily because I had a very specific style in mind that I wanted to keep in theme, and they did that, and they sort of went above and beyond. And I just really appreciated that. Like, they not only saw what was needed, but they saw what would be improved on in a way that worked with what I wanted.
So Nat basically took your quality, knew exactly what you were thinking, and said, here's what I got. How, and then, like you said, they blew it out of the water. My apologies. Yeah. Do you kind of give Nat a little bit of free reign, like with stuff, or you're just kind of like, hey, I'm not really sure about this, like, go ahead and do what you do best?
Yeah, sort of. So I let they work within a certain color palette. So the same color palette that's in my logo, they color using those colors, and then like a mix of them. So anything that they can do with that, they have free range to color it and shade it however they want. And sometimes they'll send me the work, and I'll give some like feedback or critique or whatever. But for the most part, they just run wild with it.
So when you say they use the color palette, is it the Webtoons one that I got below, or is it the very Japanese Oni logo blue?
Yeah, it's the pink, blue, and white color palette.
I love that style of blue. Teal is my absolute favorite color. I don't know why. I've loved it forever. So, with Nat now being on board as of yesterday, is
no. They've sorry to to clarify, they've actually been with me for time doesn't make sense to me, so I can't remember when, but maybe about a year.
Oh wow!
And
okay.
Yeah, so they actually started coloring this work for me like since then. So technically, all of chapter 1 is already colored, but I just didn't do anything with it for a long time. But now I'm ready to start uploading those pages to Webtoon. So I try my best to be efficient and.
No, I feel you. I'm the kind of individual who will sit here on a Friday night and be like, "Oh snap! I gotta put out an episode at 3 a.m. and it's midnight, Saturday morning." It's
I
like,
totally
okay,
get it. Yeah.
So since Nat's been on board for a year, and you've been building this comic for a very long time, because it seems like you've been at it for 4 years. Did you originally plan to do, or not 4 years, but 4 chapters? Did you originally plan to do it black and white, or is that just kind of an aesthetic choice because of COVID or whatever happened?
So it was originally black and white because just for time and efficiency, just because it takes so long to draw a comic page, just even without color. And originally my pages were done traditionally, like completely traditionally, where it was sketched, drawn, and then I used real screen tone paper for those. I know. So I was I was a little disappointed to realize how time consuming that was, and also how expensive screen tone paper was. So after about 3 pages, I scrapped that.
Okay.
Um, I still draw my pages traditionally, like inkwise, but then everything else I do digitally.
Okay, yeah, I was kind of impressed that you were like, "Hey, I did it all, freehand." And I've done a couple things where I've collaged things together just to try to be
Mm,
cute or whatever, and
mm,
that takes like days to create just
mm.
one thing. So, going from taking forever for 3 panels or 3 pages, how fast can you from concept to I guess digital to it's out? How long does that usually take you now?
It takes me about 2 days to go from sketch to the finished shading. Um, but that's sort of putting aside like writing the script and getting it edited and stuff. But as far as like creating the actual page, about 2 days.
What's a good timeline that makes you happy when you decide to like you're writing, you're putting stuff out, like how often do you want to, put a page out there?
So currently I do 1 page a week. Um, in an ideal world, my comic would have enough readership that it could support myself and the continuation of my comic. And gosh, if I had that possibility, I would create 4 or 5 pages a week. I don't know. I would crank them out like crazy because I do not get sick of it. I enjoy it so much, and there's nothing else that I would rather do. So if I just had more time to do that, I would be incredibly happy.
Yeah. So you have a Patreon that I see as well. Now I have your link tree, so I'm going to literally link everything in the comments and all that fun stuff. So no worries there. Uh,
Oh, thank you.
yeah, of course. Um, so for anybody who's listening who may want to continue to listen and just they're maybe watching YouTube or what have you, where can you find your Patreon?
So, oof, it desperately needs updating. So if you can give me a week before before anybody decides to join, I think it's OniGirl comic.
Okay.
I think so.
Well, today is technically September 22nd, and
Hmm.
your episode is going to go live on the 2nd of October, so you have until then to
Okay.
update it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Phew.
So I do have a question because I would very much enjoy this. It if I'm like a like what are okay, let me ask you this first. What are the tiers of the Patreon?
So currently, the only thing I offer is like the dollar tier, which is just if you want to support Oni Girl or if you want to join the Discord, you can hop in there. Um, and then the $5 tier is where I just give you all of the pages, like as they're completed, and that's the sketching, the ink work, and the shading, so that you can see the whole process. But I'm really wanting to revamp my Patreon soon so that I can offer more options like for every patron, I would draw a little doodle of and just like put all of them all together because I have a few artist friends who do that, and that seems like a really fun way to thank people for their support. Um, I've got a few different ideas that I'm floating around, but at the moment I only have two patrons, so I've sort of been putting it off a little bit.
Well, if you decide to add video gaming with your boyfriend, I would love to hang out with him and that awesome mustache that he's got. So, if you throw it up there, I might go ahead and subscribe for a game session or two.
That sounds fun.
So, with Animal Crossing, just because, like I said, this is a gaming podcast, do you find what drew you into Animal Crossing to kind of just start your journey with it?
It's so funny because when New Leaf had come out, I did not have much experience with Animal Crossing, but a friend of mine at the time sort of forced me and a few other friends to get into it. And we all played for about a month or so, and then they all just quit cold turkey, and I played for about 2 years straight. I think there were 2 days that I maybe skipped, but I just became obsessed.
That's fantastic. Yeah, like did was New Leaf the same as New Horizons where you couldn't fast forward the day unless you cheated by adjusting your internal clock? Okay. Yeah, because that was really annoying. I remember I got the Switch, I plugged it in, I did everything. It's like, all right. I was like, how do I progress? And they're like, oh, you got to wait till tomorrow. I was like, no, there is no tomorrow. So I got you. That's awesome. Were you big into gaming before that or at any time?
I feel reluctant to call myself like a gamer or anything. Maybe that's because of the fear of gatekeeping or something. But there's been lots of games that I've enjoyed. Like uh, I was hugely into the Nintendo 64 games as a kid. Like I obsessively played the Mario Party games. I used to love Rush, which was a racing game. It's
I
very
love
that's
that.
very random, but I'm trying to get better at Mario Kart, like for the Wii. I'm trying to get good at it, and I'm terrible. My boyfriend is a lot better than I am, so maybe that's something you guys can play together. Um, I just have a lot of fond memories of more of the older games that I had more time to play. Like I loved my Game Boy Color. I had too many games for that. My Game Boy Advance, my Game Boy Advance SP, my what was it called? The Lite, the
The
DS
Yeah, the
Lite,
DS Lite.
the 3DS, and I have a Switch, but
What
where's
was?
the time to play lately?
Oh yeah. It was funny because I went on a deployment to. Was this? I forget where it was. No, this was one of the random little small TDYs I went on. But a buddy of mine talked me into getting a Nintendo 3DS, and he's like, "Oh, you got to get this one Zelda game that I'm getting." I was like, "All right." He's like, "We'll beat it together." So the entire plane ride over, we're playing, and then we both get to this part where you have to transfer a sticker onto the map down below. I'm doing everything in my power. I'm using the stylus. I'm doing whatever, and I get so mad. I slam it shut, throw it against the wall. I'm like, I'm done. I'm done. And then like 2 hours later, I'm like, oh, I go back to it and I open it because I never turned it off. And it's like, yeah, you transferred it. You just had to
What?
close. Yeah, you just closed it onto it.
Oh,
And then it's
that's
like,
crazy.
it's like blow out this candle, and I was like, whew, I blew onto the microphone,
That's
and
cool.
yeah, like this.
Which Zelda game was that?
I
That's
have
cool.
no idea. This
I
was.
like when games implement that kind of interactivity you don't usually have in a
Yeah.
game.
I mean, this was, I think, 2000. When was this? I think this was like 2007, maybe
Mm.
2008. I forget because it's
Time
all.
doesn't make sense.
Well, it was all
It's all
blurred together.
mush.
Yeah, I mean, I was a medium sized base deploying in a large size, so
Mm.
we were constant. Like I was home for maybe 4 or 5 months, and I was out the door the
Mm.
next. So,
Mm.
so I guess my next question here is what started you into maybe doodling or drawing? When did it become a passion? And then how did you turn it into now your job as well as a side gig?
Hmm. So I honestly don't remember a time when I wasn't drawing or didn't enjoy drawing. Even as far as kindergarten, I remember obsessively like drawing or coloring in coloring books and uh, getting praise. I just felt fueled by that, even though the teachers were probably like praising all the students to the same level.
Yeah.
I think maybe I heard it and I was like, wow, you really think so? I'll pursue this then. And I don't know. That positive feedback worked because I don't get sick of it. I don't get burnt out. I just draw.
Okay, so for your actual job, you are
Mm.
you said a muralist or
So I'm sort of, hmm, my title is technically graphic designer, But I also help with the conceptualization of the murals. So my boss and I work directly with each other to design each mural.
Okay, and these are murals that are contracted by like governments or just random people out in the world.
It it can literally be anybody. So we've done private residents, we've done schools, we've done like really big names like Red Bull, Cirque du Soleil, um, like literally anybody who would want a mural can contact us.
Are you allowed to name drop the coolest person you've worked for or the coolest company you've worked for?
The coolest company. Well, the very first job that I designed for was Cirque du Soleil, so that's particularly special to me. Um,
That
yeah,
that would scare me. It's like, hey, welcome to the job. We're drawing for Cirque du Soleil today.
honestly, it was nuts because technically I wasn't even hired yet. It was a test.
That
It
was your
was a
test.
drawing test. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was pretty intense.
That's yeah, that's a very big welcome. Good
But it
luck.
got me hired.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. Has there been any murals that you've hated?
Oh gosh, yeah. Um, a lot of the times schools don't have the creative leeway to allow for anything artistic or creative.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the times those can be really gross looking.
Like gross looking
That's
as in aesthetically or just
yeah, just aesthetically.
uh, okay, you could have just taken a picture at the front of school and called it good. What is that kind of yeah? That's kind of what you're talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
okay.
yeah.
All right. So, with OniGirl, how, I guess that I kind of want to jump back to it real quick here.
Sure.
When did the concept of it start, and then how long was the transition into okay, I'm gonna rock and roll this, and you started officially.
So I think about 5 years ago, the story sort of started building not too long after um, I had created that mayor character and started drawing myself as a sort of monster character. Um, it really didn't take long at all after that for it to start developing into a story. Obviously, over time, it has gotten more complex and different parts about it have been refined. Uh, but for the most part, it's always been about a half human, half monster girl who goes to this school to learn how to be human, basically.
All right. Do you take any of that? Do you take any outside references like, oh, Sarah, my best friend, I'm gonna go ahead and put Sarah in here, or like,
That
Tom
is
from work's
so
pretty
weird
cool.
that you say that. That's so weird that you say that because I literally do have a friend, Sarah, that I have snuck into my comic. Have you been, you've done your research a lot more than you said you have.
Nope. I literally Sarah, Timmy, Tommy, and Jessica. Those are my go-to names. If I have to name drop somebody, I'm gonna those. I always go for it. I don't know why, but that's just what I
That's
do.
funny.
Okay. Did Sarah enjoy her cameo?
Yeah, she thought she was really cute. So, I have several of these actually. I have several characters in my comic that are directly inspired by real life friends. Um, Sarah's character is a little bee girl. She's a
Ooh.
little bee monster.
Okay.
Because my friend Sarah has an affinity for bees. My friend Sarah is also an artist, so I've made the little bee character a really talented artist in high school, and I just love the idea of this tiny little bee like having to hoist a pencil and struggling to draw that way.
Oh, that's hilarious. That would be
I just
good.
want to draw that.
Um, so, all right. I guess, is there anything that you would like to kind of throw out there or address in any general terms before we start to maybe start answering some random Reddit questions or any message that you want to put
Uh,
out to the audience?
yeah, absolutely. Um, So I want to say that I'm very, very grateful for any kind of support that people give me, whether it's financially, if you want to buy merchandise, or if you want to follow me on social media. But one really big thing I'm trying to do is increase my readership on Webtoon, because not only does that mean that I will get ad revenue and be able to support me and ensure that OniGirl will continue being made. But it also means there will be more eyes on it, and then word can spread, and it'll just be this big, beautiful snowball from there. The other thing I wanted to say is that, as I mentioned before, OniGirl deals with various mental health issues, and I write it from my heart, and I write it because I know what it feels like to deal with these issues. So for anybody who feels like they have these kinds of problems and feel alone in the world, I just want you to know that you're not alone, and there's always going to be somebody that can relate to you.
And if you are ever having issues, please do not hesitate to reach out to any friends, family, or even just a random person on the internet through those various hotlines that you can, because I know that I wouldn't have a friend today if he hadn't reached out to me. So there's a lot of positive with that. And, you know, I was literally in the middle of a live streaming a game. He hit me up and I was like, all right, cool. Live stream's over. Deuces. And then he went ahead and walked the Appalachian Trail, or the vast majority of it. So he was, yeah, good to go there. That's actually a really good message, and we're going to keep up that positive energy here. Even though that this was like a couple years back, did you hear about what the University of Tennessee did for a kid who made his own t-shirt?
No.
So quite a while ago, a kid in Tennessee actually got made fun of for his homemade University of Tennessee shirt. He basically took an orange shirt, took a piece of paper, drew the U, colored it in a little bit, drew the T, colored it in a little bit, and stapled it. Bunch of kids made fun of him. I guess it kind of made the local news somehow. It picked up. Well, the University of Tennessee got a hold of it and said, "Kid, that's our new T-shirt." And they legit made T-shirts of it. And like everybody at the band, and like it was so cool. They sold
I love that.
They sold 16,000 shirts, and they gave him a 4-year scholarship when he was old enough.
Aww, that's so sweet.
The dude was amazing. That's awesome.
That's such a good story.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's probably about, let's see here. All right, so I guess this would be relationship or dating advice.
I love this stuff.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm gonna go ahead and preface this real quick. If you are not comfortable with answering, that's totes my goats. Okay, I have no problem editing it out. And if I left that part in, ladies and gentlemen, just FYI, she answered all the questions. So,
I'm totally into it.
I, a 26-year-old female, have had sex with him, a 23-year-old male, on the third date in hopes that he'd ghost me.
Wow.
The title says it all. I had sex with him on a third date in hopes that he would ghost me because I've been growing bored of the connection, but my plan backfired. Instead, he was super attentive.
I didn't expect this.
Instead, he was super attentive in the bedroom, extremely affectionate after the act, and continued to text me the same way he normally would after I left. I've come to the realization that he really likes me. ... How do I let him down?
Oh my goodness. Well, if you just take the sex out of the equation and just treat it like any other kind of relationship you want to get out of, you just have to be honest and tell them that you don't see that it's working. You don't have to go into detail and tell them all of the different things that is not making the relationship work, but you just have to be honest. It hurts, but
yeah. No, I'm sorry. It's like it's one of those situations where, yeah, as a single individual myself, it's just kind of like, yeah, I'd be happy with getting ghosted. You know, like that would be an ideal situation. It's like, hey, Jared, I thought you were great. It's like, I had a great time last night. Hey, we're not working out. I mean, okay, yeah, you know, all right. You know, it sucks, but
I think a lot of people would think that it's better to cut off a relationship, even if it hurts, than the alternative of being strung along, only to find out later how long you were in a false relationship for. That would hurt more, I think.
You, yeah, no, you're 100% right. I mean, I have very different viewpoints because of the past 33 years of attempting to find a correct woman, and I'm on my 34th year. It's not going so good.
It's tough.
It is tough. But you know, if your boyfriend ever is single, just let him know that mustache can definitely come hang out with me in my bro house.
I'll let him and his mustache know.
So the one thing that I find is weird is that she's like, oh, he was super attentive, he was extremely affectionate. You know, he texted me after the fact, and he really likes me. The one that tells me that she feels just a smidge of something. You know, like it's like this dude's pretty baller. That's what I get from that, because there's no I don't know why she would add that in there, other than to maybe prop him up on a pedestal to be like, no, he's a really chill, awesome guy. But if he's a chill, awesome dude, where's no connection?
I mean, I guess it's the same difference between what makes somebody a good friend versus what makes them partner material.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's literally just that one factor.
That one thing, yeah.
That one thing.
It makes very complete sense. First off, JTG95, don't have sex with people you want to not go forward with. I mean, you probably made his day, or his month, or his week, but like JTG95, don't do that.
Yeah, if you've got different goals, then
it's different. That's I don't know. Like that's just I don't know. Like that's amazing. Okay.
I think they've learned their lesson. Hopefully.
Maybe. So, do you know what free compliments is on Reddit? Are free compliments?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay, good, because
it's like the opposite of roast me.
No, that's toast me.
Toast me.
Yeah, free compliments. Like, I mean, I'll just go to here. A subreddit created specifically for giving out free compliments. Feeling bad, come here to make a compliment. And it's kind of like I'm like that's the same thing as toast me, but it's different. So I had this one photo, and it's not a photo that I wanted, or it's not a post that I want to share, because it turns out she's under the age of 18. And it was interesting because I went, you know, like, because I've always had this fascination with why people put photos of themselves up on the internet, you know, especially like free compliments, these roast me's or what have you. And I get the vast majority of why, but somebody like her, I'm just like, it feels like you're reaching for something specifically here. And I was going to reach out and talk to her, and then she's like, oh, you know, I'm underage, I'm a minor. And I'm like, yeah, probably should say something like that, because the comments are just amazing.
Yeah, that's a good way to get some negative attention and some predatory behavior potentially.
Yeah, I threw up a question. It was like, hey, shouldn't you probably mention that you're underage? And she's like, why? What does it matter? And I was like, there's a lot of fucking reasons why that matters. It was interesting because there was a lot of women actually, a lot of I guess that would be the right term here. A lot of women, you know, like, hey, you look great, da da da. But then like every guy's profile that I would look up, I was just like, that's not a person you want talking to you. So I guess for those younger individuals that may not have grown up with To Catch a Predator with Chris Hansen, like I maybe have, what is some advice that you can give to a young person on the internet? It doesn't have to be male, female, non-binary, or whatever. What advice would you give to a young person on the interwebs?
I would say just be very careful. There's nothing wrong with wanting validation, but the internet it's so tricky to navigate, and there are people online who are very good at hiding what their intentions are. And even if what they say is nice, it doesn't necessarily mean they're a nice person.
Perfect. That's awesome. Yeah, on the interwebs, you can be whoever you want to be, however you want to be, whenever you want to
Exactly.
be. That's why the show Catfish was created. All right, so this is an unpopular opinion, and I just kind of want to go with the title here. I'm going to replace one of the words because it kind of
This is such a fun segment, by the way. I love it.
Well, thank you. Because I don't think the word that he used was correct, and he did correct himself. So if a guy was a gentleman and you rejected him, and then he tries to go after your friend, is it uncool or unethical to tell that friend that he had tried to talk to you first?
That's a really interesting question. I think it depends on a lot of factors. I think if I were the friend, I would want to know, and that's what I would base this answer on. It depends on how close you are to the friend, and it depends on how things left off with the person you went on a date with. If it's a friend that you're particularly close to, I think it would be worth them knowing probably. And if there were negative reasons that the date ended, then that's more reason to tell that friend.
Yeah, I'd 100% agree with you if there was a negative that, friend A saw that friend B might know about. But let's for a moment just assume a perfect world. It's a great world. Everything's, totally fantastic. You go out with the person, you're just like halfway through, they're like, look, you're totally dope. But you're just not sparkling. The Roman candle's not going up. It's not sparkling for me here. And you're like, oh my God, I was thinking the same thing. Like, it was amazing, but like, no. So you end up, he ended up going to your friend. There was nothing wrong about him. You thought he was a chill dude. Like, everything was perfect. Would you tell that friend, or if you were that friend, would that sour the way you thought about this individual?
I don't think so. Because people are going to have different compatibilities. Like with my partner, for example, like we are very compatible, but I wouldn't say the same for him and a friend of mine or a friend of his. They wouldn't necessarily be compatible with me just because they're close with one another. So I wouldn't really. Did that really answer that?
I mean it. See,
that was supposed to be my analogy, but I don't know if it quite worked.
That's kind of where I get a little. I mean, I agree with what you have to say. If there was a big, red flag, like, yeah, tell your broha. Your broha needs to know. Doesn't matter. The biggest problem with that is the souring, the way that I've perceived women, and in my personal opinion, the way that I've lived my life and what I've experienced. If I ask out girl A and she's friends with girl B, girl A approaches girl B and is like, you try, like, hey, didn't you date so-and-so? Or didn't you, like, try to date so-and-so? And I was like, yeah, I did. And they would immediately just be like, no bueno. Be like, nope, not even gonna go for it. It's like,
okay. I didn't see it that way.
That souring of this, I'm not even gonna give you a shot because you were talking with so-and-so.
In that case, I would say that it's a disappointment that the friend wouldn't be more open-minded to seeing for herself what the experience is like.
Yeah. Natalie, I know you're driving to your parents right now and you're texting me, but I'm on a podcast with a content creator. She's one of my really good friends. I've been gaming with her for like 10 years. She lives out in Canada.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. She lives out in Canada. We met in the most odd way. We're like besties. It's dope.
Aww.
Love her to death.
It's always nice to have those kinds of long-lasting friendships.
Yeah, well, podcasting supersedes it, so. I know that's horrible to say, and I know she'll hear it, and I don't care. Yeah, that's just the only negative thing that I had in there was the whole souring of the friendship, and not that there's anything wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it, but I just think that I would maybe go, hey Tiffany, just a heads up. Jake tried to go out with me a little while ago. He was a total gentleman. He was totally great. I hope you like him. Just wanted to tell you. Like, that's maybe the time to approach you. Be like, oh, do you like Jake? Well, yeah, I know Jake is a great guy. We went on a date and the Roman candle didn't go off. So, like, I don't know. All right. I want to try something new here. We'll see if this works. You're gonna tell me what animal is this if it comes across.
Okay.
What animal do you think that is?
That's interesting. Oh, it's a tiny bird cat hybrid.
That's a cheetah.
Oh man, I should have gone with my initial impulse.
Yep, that's a cheetah. That is actually what a cheetah sounds like. I don't think cheetahs roar like lions or maybe panthers, but yeah, cheetahs legitimately sound like tiny or very domesticated cats, I guess.
Cool. I like this segment. That's cool.
All right, so Ask Reddit came out a little while ago and asked, what is the most disturbing thing you know?
The most disturbing thing I know.
The most disturbing thing you know.
Oh, let's see. The most disturbing thing I know. So, my memory of this is very vague. It's very fuzzy, but a few years ago, I was in a Reddit thread about disturbing things.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a story about disabled kids in a sort of facility where they were being abused.
Was this a mental hospital or a mental institution?
I think it might have been a mental institution.
I know the exact one that you're talking about, like where they were wearing shock collars and stuff like that.
Maybe.
Yeah, a lot of
I think
shock
it was.
therapy.
I think it was a long time ago. Not like super long ago, but
Yeah, I think it was
maybe
like
in the 60s or 70s or something.
yeah, I was thinking late 70s, early 80s maybe. 'Cause,
Okay.
like, they had the VCR, like there was a lot of VCR, the VCR quality footage of it. But yeah, like that. Mental health has come a long, long way since those times. So,
Yeah, for sure.
I guess the most disturbing fact that I know, basically the world can end in a split second, or like if the sun explodes, we won't know for 8 minutes. All of a sudden, just poof, nothingness, and the fact that there may be no afterlife, that scares the living nonsense out of me. Like I need an adult almost immediately. So.
Yeah, I don't think my comic would exist if it weren't for those fears that I have of those same things.
Well, hooray to putting your fears to making you a little bit of money, then I guess. All right. Let's see here. Oh damn, that was it. Now I've been trying to go on Reddit today a little bit because I've been bored. And whoop! Please stop. That is an ad for Apple. I don't want that played on here. I don't want to get hit with something. Was Reddit messing up for you today?
Yes.
Okay.
It was. I wanted to respond to your message much earlier today, but Reddit was down for me.
Okay. Oh, this is a really good one here. All right, I sorted by controversial within the last 24 hours here. I'm in a relationship with an asexual person, and I'm very sexually frustrated. What do I do? For context, I'm a 19-year-old freshman in college, and my partner is an 18-year-old senior in high school. They've been together for a year, and then there's a whole bunch of stuff, but I don't care to read all that, so we're going to go just off the title.
All right. So there are people in these kinds of mixed sexuality relationships that find workarounds. It's really up to you and your partner to decide what you're comfortable with, but there are options. There are some couples where the asexual partner will facilitate sexual relations of some kind. If that's something that they're totally not interested in, that's okay too. Then it's up to finding other options, like maybe you uh, use toys of some sort, or maybe you come to some sort of agreement where you have another person involved in your relationship where they are maybe only somebody that you have sexual blah, blah, blah,
Relationships.
relations with,
No, relations.
but not romantically. Um, it's just you have to discuss all of these different options with your partner and decide which works for you. Um, yeah, it's something that you can make work if you find the right solution.
All of what you just said. All of what you just said. There's nothing to add there. That's 100% what I would say too.
But if anybody else can think of other possible ideas, then feel free to chime in, because this is a little bit outside of my wheelhouse.
You could. Well, one of the other ones that I could think of is just break up with her. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
you're
Worst case
19,
scenario, just find people that you're more compatible with.
dude. When I was 19, I was 19. When I was in 19, I was in Iraq, so I don't really have much to talk about. But like,
Mm,
I mean, I was married at 23. I think I got divorced at 24.
mm-hmm,
I have a child who
mm-hmm,
is not with me. He's in a different state. So like, life is gonna happen.
mm-hmm.
Life's gonna happen
Life
for
comes
you.
at you fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, when you're 18, 19, I get it. You're in love. I thought my fiance when I was 18
Uh-huh.
was the world, but
Mm-hmm.
like, no. Look at me now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, um, I like the whole opening up the relationship is probably going to be his best route because um the frustration really is only going to build if you lack that
Right.
intimacy. I mean, there have been studies done where like people go without touch
Mm-hmm.
for a super long time, and just if you're not getting a specific type of affection, bro, like that's just gonna suck. So, but
Yeah, if that's something that you prioritize for yourself, then it might have to come to that.
here's another good one. Um, for context, a lot of this I like to read the title if the title is catchy, and then there's little bits of information I find throughout. That's what I go for.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not
Mm-hmm.
gonna sit here and read 20 lines of text to somebody. So, uh, interesting name. Snoo33678 says, I'm a 15-year-old female. Am I wrong for being upset about not getting compliments? I mean, I don't get
Aw.
compliments about my looks or anything. I just wish someone would tell me that for once I've done a good job or to keep up the good work. And then she kind of goes into a diatribe about stuff and how she had a moment in class where she broke down a little bit. So,
That's heartbreaking.
yeah.
It's absolutely okay to be upset about those things. Everybody wants to feel validation.
Just for reference, Snoo, I remember sometimes my one of my ex girlfriends colored her hair, and I didn't really realize it.
Mm,
So you may be doing things that are just very
mm.
subtle changes where you're like, Tiffany's looking just as hot as she was yesterday. That's dope. All right, like it just may be something that you don't really that nobody's really noticing that you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
There could be other aspects to it, but compliments from your peers are a big thing, but it ain't everything, dog.
It's really interesting because it makes me want to know more. If you are particularly shy, then it may be hard to insinuate that you need this kind of positive feedback. Um, it makes me hope that she does have peers around her uh, that can give her that sort of validation that she needs.
I'm reading the post here as you're talking, so I appreciate you chit chattering while I'm doing that. Um,
No
but
problem.
from what it sounds like is that she may be the oldest child,
Hmm.
as well as it. I almost feel like she may be very quiet. Or I
Uh-huh.
probably shouldn't assume, but Snoo might be one of those quiet kids because, like, as an older child, I
I was a
realized,
quiet kid.
yeah, well, number one, I've got two younger siblings, and
Hmm.
Yoshi and then Cherry D, that's his
Hmm.
nickname. But like, they got away with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
They got away with a
Yeah.
lot, and
Same.
like, with me, it wasn't. And then I remember, like Cherry D had a little bit of a speech impediment, or not a speech impediment, but he had trouble reading. Hooked on Phonics. We used to make fun of him for it, and it was, it was pretty bad. But like at the same time, he got a little bit of extra attention. Yoshi would too because he was the youngest guy. Whereas it's like, oh, Jared, like, all right, like, great, you're going in the military, and it's like, okay, and then Yoshi went off to college, and they're like, oh, the college you're going to is so great. I'm so excited for you. It's like, oh, okay, well, what about what I'm doing,
I went through a very similar thing, with the younger siblings and me being the oldest. I couldn't get away with anything, whereas, like, anything that my brothers did, it was fine. So I can relate to what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe posted a photo of something up on the internet that you really like or that you were able to create. Maybe you'll get some good stuff. So who knows? There's a lot of greatness that can come from it.
That's a good point. Like sometimes people find their community online, so it's just important to have a community and have peers that will uplift you.
All right. How would you feel about talking about a tattoo hidden from a very religious father? Okay, yeah, that intrigued her. All right, the head movement. Head movements don't come across on the podcast here, Lindsey. So, hiding tattoo from my religious dad, and I need to tell him before I move back in. Oh, he's moving back in. I read that as moving out. Okay.
Oh.
So some backstory. Hi, everyone. I'm a 23-year-old male currently residing in the Houston area. In January of this year, I moved in with my sister because I needed to take care of her townhome that she rents in while she went on a month trip to El Salvador. Before this, my parents were aware that I was going to stay there for a month and come back, so I stayed... the banana sandwich for a month. Then I went back to my parents' house. My parents unfortunately got COVID. After a week of me coming back, I had to go back to my sister's place while my parents recovered. So if you where the heck is you moving with your parents in this four very, very large paragraphs of information?
I got lost a little bit.
Okay, so he got a tattoo that he needs to hide from his very religious father before he has to move back in with his parents for some good godness reason. Dude, you're 23. My advice to you is tell your dad to deal with it.
Yeah, basically.
It's see, that's why I need to pre-read these, ladies and gentlemen. Otherwise, I'll jack up on TV here. Oh. Is this what I think it is? Yeah. My girlfriend's parents don't want me for her. He's 20. I think she's 22. Can't find... No, she's 21. So he's 20, she's 21, and her parents hate him. What does he do?
It really just has to come to a breaking point. She needs to talk with her parents, and... if she doesn't already know why, she needs to get to the root of why they dislike him. If she can have a conversation with them and put their fears aside, that's great. Maybe the next step is to have like a dinner all together so that they can see what you see in if they can see what she sees in her partner. But really, like, you can't force anybody to change their views on somebody. They can only do that themselves. They have to prove that to them.
I had an ex-girlfriend, V. I'll call her V for Vendetta. Her brothers hated me. Her dad and mom were very suspicious of me because of some gossiping idiot that they knew. But basically what ended up happening was the relationship started off where they just didn't like me, period, end of story. And it was like 7 months later, I went on this fishing trip with her dad and her brothers, and like her dad was talking to me like the entire time. Like he was here, I was here, and we're just fishing with this bridge. And all of a sudden, her two brothers come over. It's like, I'm about to get messed up because her brothers are these jacked bodybuilder construction dudes, right? And I was a little flabby out of the military, and it was funny because her dad goes, Jared, I'd really like you to hang around a little bit more. Like, you're a great dude. We really like you. And her brothers were like, yeah, that's great. So I killed him with kindness. I showed them how much of a gentleman I was, and I really took care of their daughter. I was really nice to her. She really had nothing but good things to say to me. And then she broke up with me next week. So, it was dope. But like, that's what I would do, is kill them with kindness. Show them you're a good individual.
Yeah.
All right. Last one here. I, a 22-year-old male, need to know if I should disclose a past hookup with my girlfriend, who is also 22, which happened before we met. So 2 years ago, I got to third base with this girl at a party. I don't know what third base means, but I'm going to make assumptions. Nothing ever came of it, but later she got a roommate. That roommate is now my girlfriend.
Yes.
We've been in a relationship for 2 years.
Yes, divulge that information. I've read too many Reddit posts about this same kind of scenario, and they all lead to the same thing.
I'm going to do you one better. She already knows.
What? Okay, so now she knows.
No.
Things are more...
That's my opinion. Your girlfriend knows. You don't hook up with a girl at a party randomly, and then 2 years later, unless you were both shit-faced and blackout drunk, that girl, your girlfriend's roommate, knows who you are.
It's very possible.
I think she knows. I think your girlfriend already knows and does not care because you're in a relationship for 2 years.
It's possible, but it's still something that they should come clean about, I think, just so that they are on the same page as the girlfriend. Like, we both know that this happened. It's okay and it's completely cool, but now we know. Now I know that you know that I know that you know.
Well, here's my question: if it's been 2 years, why is it not? Why is it so important that she knows about this past hookup? If they're assuming that there's no negative repercussions from this hookup, where the girlfriend's roommate's not hitting her up, there's no awkward tensions or anything like that, like. If it's been 2 years.
If it were me, it would be sort of a non-issue, but it would be worth talking about so it doesn't potentially become an issue, just from the very fact that I was withholding that kind of information. I'm the kind of person who will always be honest, and would rather talk about things and discuss things than keep it in and let it fester and let it potentially boil over or turn into something bigger. If it doesn't have to become a bigger thing by withholding it, then I would rather just get it out in the open and discuss. To me, honesty is always the best policy.
Yeah, I mean, honesty is a really good policy. I mean, okay, so maybe I can ask this question a little bit differently, so I'm not putting you on the spot here, Lindsey.
I like this kind of stuff. I'm enjoying myself. So
when you get into a relationship, do you have the body count talk?
The body count talk?
Yeah.
I guess so.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say so. With the limited relationship experience I have, that's always been a discussion. And I say limited because my current partner is only my second serious partner. And my first partner I was together with for 11 years total.
Okay.
So
I'm not judging. It's always impressive when someone's like, I'm with my third partner and my first two were 5 years each, and it's like, I can barely get them to last 6 months. How do you get people to last 5 years?
I'm very particular. The reason I don't have a long list of previous partners is because I know exactly what I want, and I would rather be single than be in a relationship I know won't last. That's just the kind of person I am.
That, and I mean the dungeon with the chains and the locks, and that does help too. So don't lie to me, Lindsey here. So okay, because that's always you have that talk about the body count, and I mean I know you're not so you're not gonna believe what I did to Tommy. You're gonna love it because Tommy loved it. You don't have those conversations with people, but I mean.
I mean, I've definitely had those kind of talks with my current and my previous partner, though. Like, we knew who our previous, what our previous relationships were, or in my
Yeah.
case with the first and last partner, they knew who I had crushes on and who I had, you
Well,
know.
I mean, yeah, you share all that information, but it's not. I mean, the thing that really weirds me out here with
Mm,
that situation, and I mean, I'm all for honesty. I'm all for like, hey,
uh-huh.
just FYI, like if someone asks, if my significant other is to ask me about it, like I'm gonna be like, yeah, I slept with Tiffany. Like I'm not gonna be
Hmm.
like, you're not gonna believe this story, but if it's been 2 years and depending upon how long they've lived together, she almost already knows. Or number two, what would be the benefit of him now spilling his guts? Like, why do you think that he might need to say something now, as
I
opposed to
mean,
when he first saw her and was like, I hooked up with that chick.
because there's that slim possibility that she doesn't know. Like, we keep talking about how she most likely knows,
Well,
which
yeah.
probability wise, like, yeah, she would know. But there's still that chance. And I think even if it's a slim chance, it's worth talking about because that's a huge deal. It's emotionally, it's not a huge deal. Like, they're still a good couple, presumably. It's not affecting them in the meantime.
Hmm.
But if these kinds of things aren't talked about, it could create a misunderstanding.
Okay.
Like, no matter what their intentions are, it could lead to complications.
Now, I'm not grilling you here because I want to grill you. I'm grilling you because I'm interested. I don't get these point. The only point of view I get is Natalie, and Natalie is Natalie. I'll just say that much. Like I love her to death, but girl, you got some issues sometimes. So like
We
I
all do.
I'd like to get other people's points of views.
Mm.
What?
I love talking about stuff like this, so
Okay, well that's
I'm
perfect.
happy to.
So the next question that I have here is, please no Google, don't do that.
Mm,
So my next question that I have is what personally, if if the situation was, let's insert you in here, Lindsay, what
mm.
is the what is the benefit that you get from the knowledge that you now know that I mean what is the benefit of her now knowing if she doesn't know, if my assumption is completely
Mhm.
incorrect? What would her
Mm.
benefit be from your point of view?
Just to know that her boyfriend is honest and is willing to have these kind of uncomfortable discussions, or potentially uncomfortable, because it may not even matter to have this kind of conversation, but there's always that fear of having an uncomfortable or awkward conversation, and it takes some amount of courage to be able to talk about these kinds of things honestly and openly. So if I were in her position, I would respect the shit out of that. Like, yes, love these kinds of open conversations.
Okay. All right. That makes a lot of sense. The whole honesty part there. No, that's spot on. All right. I can totes my goat stick that. I can totes my goat stick that. Oh, banana. There was another one. Banana sandwich. I had another thought that I wanted to throw out there.
I like that expletive that you use sometimes, the banana sandwich thing.
Well, when I first started working for a student loan company, I was in a call center, and
Mm,
the better I got, the more frustrated I got with some of the definitions that I could or couldn't give, or some of the problems that we had with. And when you're on a call, you can't just be like fuck. You can't just do
mm-hmm,
that.
mm.
So I had to come up with creative ways to express myself, and banana sandwich was the way that
I
I
like
came
it.
out with. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Um. Okay. So I had it, and it was gone. I had it, and it was gone.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. That is exactly what happens. When I have these conversations with people, there's a lot of things that just churn and burn in this
Mm,
mind, and I'm a very inquisitive person by nature. So when
mm,
you answer things, my brain might jump to another topic, or it might go back to like I had this question at the beginning of it that I really want to
It
answer.
just branches off. Yeah.
And it doesn't work. So I tried. I was hoping to reach out to some people who were polyamorous at a time, as well as who were LGBTQ. Now, I'm not the best ally. I will come out and say it. I don't know the acronyms. I call it the alphabet soup. The alphabet soup of awesome.
There's a lot to learn, and even for me, I'm always learning. There's just so much to learn.
At the risk of sounding like a complete asshole, and at the risk of making myself look terrible, I would like to ask you some questions about you and your definition of queer, if you don't mind, so that way maybe I can learn. So you have a boyfriend, and you are queer. Now, when you say you're queer, my caveman brain goes to you play for the home team. You know, queer to me means you like the same sex that you are. Do you identify as male, or how does that definition work with you? Enlighten me.
Yeah, sure. So I consider myself cisgender female. So I was born female, and that's how I identify as well. And I consider myself queer because primarily I'm sexually interested in girls. But I don't consider myself lesbian, and I don't consider myself bisexual. It's just that my boyfriend is like the only exception to the rule of liking girls. So queer was the best term that sort of fit everything I wanted to say.
That makes so much sense.
Yay, I'm so glad.
No, okay, so look, this is just me talking like I talk. I apologize. I'm rough. I'm gruff. So I remember I was watching, I think it was E! Entertainment or something like that. And this one girl's like, I'm lesbian, but I'm going to stay married to my husband because I could never get with a woman. And she just started rattling off things that were confusing with it. It makes, the way you describe it makes 1,000%.
Oh, great. I'm so glad.
Because it's like, I like women, but no, Tim over there, fuck. Yeah, like, no, if all else fails, let's hope Tim likes me. I mean, that's my Tom Hardy and Liam Neeson. Believe it or not, Liam Neeson. Oh, I'd husband him up in a minute if he wanted me.
He seems like a really great person.
Well, he's Irish, and there's that extra part there. But yeah, like it baffles me when people define themselves as this, it's like, I am a Red Sox team player, but bro, you play for the Chicago Cubs. Like, you're not even in the same conference, and I don't know baseball, but like that's what's confusing to me.
I get your point, though.
It's like you're describing soccer, but you're playing baseball. Like, it's, I don't understand it. But no, you're like, your definition just fucking makes way too much sense. You see that one person, and you're just like, yep, that's a person, and that person, no, they're gonna be here. I like that, but I like that a lot more.
Exactly.
So I feel you. My dumb brain has a lot of other questions, but I don't feel like asking them. So no worries there. So
you can always ask them some other time.
Yeah. So your boyfriend, now you say he plays the video games.
Yes.
I'm gonna go ahead and let you pimp out everything. If this is the end of the podcast here, you're gonna hear nothing after this. Or if you hear a dude on the beginning of two dudes talking about video games, you know what happened, because I'm not going to edit that heavily. So, Lindsey, tell the people where we can find you, what you're doing. Give us anything you want. Go. It's yours.
Thank you so much. So primarily, I'm looking for more readers for my comic. So if you go to Webtoon and type in OniGirl, ONIGIRL, then you'll find me. Otherwise, you can check the link tree, which I think is going to be provided, and you'll find all of my links in order to support or just to follow me or whatever. It's all there.
Wonderful. Well, Lindsey, thank you very much. Everybody who is out there listening, I hope you had a great rest of your day. I hope that she enlightened you along with me as well too. I love all your faces, and we'll see you later.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I keep on trying and trying for you to understand, but you just don't get it. You just don't comprehend. If you need me to spell it out for you, oh my dear, oh yeah. Leave me alone, leave me alone. Give me peace, give me peace. Oh yeah, leave me alone, leave me alone. Yeah, give me peace. I hear a knocking, knocking, knock at my door as I wake up on the floor. I ignore trying to think of other things except the banging, banging against my door. Oh yeah. The next day when I came home, everything I owned was gone. She took everything except my shower curtain rings. Oh, how could she do this to me, baby? Oh, it was so unnecessary. Leave me alone, leave me alone. Give me peace, give me peace. Oh yeah, leave me alone, leave me alone. Yeah, give me peace, baby.